is once you introduce yourself, telling us a little about yourself and your background and experience, we'll have at least one round of questioning, beginning with Ward 1. There may be some follow-up questions to that question, and we'll go around 1 through 5. We'll be representing Ward 5 for at least one round of questions with follow-ups there. So to begin, if you don't mind, would you just tell us a little about yourself, personally, education, and your experience background, if you would please, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Well, I am Kevin Covis. I was born in Nashville, but pretty much raised in Birmingham, which is where I spent most of my life. I was educated in the Birmingham public school systems. I was the oldest of 2 sons. My parents were both graduates of Tennessee State, where they met and we later moved to Birmingham. After school in Birmingham, I spent 2 years at Xavier University in New Orleans, but I graduated from Talladega College, which is not far from Anniston. Went to graduate school at Clark, where I received my Master's of Public Administration with a concentration in urban management. From there, I did a couple of finance jobs, but I ended up in this field primarily in the late 90s, where I came back to Birmingham to work the Birmingham Enterprise Community. From there, I was chosen by then Mayor Bernard Kincaid to come and work for his administration. I spent 20 years with the City of Birmingham in the mayor's office, worked for 4 different mayors, including the current mayor, who was my intern the first year in Birmingham. I really wanted to get in the city management field, so I left after 20 years with services with the City of Birmingham and went to Tuskegee. From Tuskegee, I ended up here in Fayetteville, so I've been gone 5 years from the City of Birmingham, and in that time I either been city manager or city administrator. So that's a little bit about me and my education and professional background.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Before we begin questioning with Mr. Downey, do you have any additional questions of us that we need to have answered?
No, sir. I'm just happy to be here and happy to hear you.
Yes, sir. Very good. Then, Lewis, let's start with you first question.
Mr. Owens, first off, thanks for sticking with us and thanks for bearing with us through technical difficulties this age we live in now, I guess. So I guess my first question, Mr. Owens, would be in regards to funding, and how would you go about prioritizing funding where funding is so vastly important, and then how to piggyback off that question, how would you identify sources to establish other funding? experience in grant management and grant writing procedure, and grant funding, finding and sourcing grant money?
I give myself some successes. When I was in Tuskegee at that time, and I was not in Tuskegee long, but they didn't have many community development opportunities. But one of the things I was able to do, which is still utilized in Tuskegee, I wrote the Brownfield grant, which was very helpful to that community. Since being in Fayetteville, I was able to, well, one of the challenges they gave, we had some grant that was on the table, but that had not moved. So I had to move all of those grant opportunities. And right now, we're in completion of the fifth one. And in that time, I have also written or helped led teams to write grants. We are benefactor of a multi-voter grant right now. They came out to be $1.6 million. So I have had some successes in writing grants as well as managing grants.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Any follow-up questions on the front? I've got one. And then so, Mr. Rose, I know Birmingham is obviously different. But with respect to your experience in Fayetteville and Tuskegee, did you have any experience working with the Department of Agriculture?
Neither one in Tuskegee nor Fayetteville did I work directly with the Department of Agriculture.
Okay. In those two cities then, which federal agency did you work most closely with during your team with Fayetteville and Tuskegee?
Well, with EPA, with Tuskegee, with EPA, we did get the Brownfield grant and that was directly with EPA. In Tuskegee, Fayetteville, we worked directly with transportation as well as the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development. So those are the two primary ones that I work.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any other follow-up questions to Mr. Downing's question? Or have you got anything you'd like to add, Mr. Owens, to this first question?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Dee, let's go to you.
All right. God, first of all, I need to thank you for your time.
Indeed.
With the plight of the country right now, how would you handle things that are politically sensitive when it comes to staff as far as, because I'll be honest, our city is 52% Afro-American and 41% Caucasian. The other is mixed. How would you handle such a diverse community when it comes? I asked that question because there have been a couple of times where there's a need to prioritize either resources, the allocation of money, and a lot of times, to be honest, in my city, if you give one side of town and not the other side of town, there's always a catch-22. So that'll be a situation where, because I hear it all the time, y'all don't pick up the leaves on the west side. Which I know if I go to the east side of town, or go to the Springs and go in all wards, and we have the same issue everywhere, it's not that. Not that we're not doing it, but the expectations of our constituents sometimes seem a little off. So, how would you balance that?
Ironically, when I came to Fayetteville 3 years ago, the same issue about garbage was one of the main concerns. Within my second week, it was a woman who was considered elderly came in, and she waited for me for some time. And she asked me, and the lady was of African American descent. And she said, well, Mr. Otis, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been in this community 80 plus years, and people do not always pick up my traffic. I gave her an oath, which I have stood by. Regardless, we're going to put the resources to make sure that all services are equally compared to yours. And I see this particular lady every so often, and I asked her, have her garbage been picked up? And she said, I'm a man on my word, so I truly believe in it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any follow-up from Dee?
Well, I have a question to sort of piggyback on his question. Talk about engaging with the community. What steps would you actively take to engage in the community?
Well, what I believe that now, of course, when I was in Birmingham, I grew up in Birmingham, but what steps that I do believe, being a trustee as well as being a here now, I believe you have to get involved as we visited churches, going to sports events, just being involved in the community. I think a successful manager is involved.
Hey, I think that you're right, Mr. Owens. I think a successful manager is involved in his community and tries to acclimate to the community as well as possible. I wonder, how you may have done that in Tuskegee or Fayetteville, and how do you think that experience might help you acclimate into our community in Anniston?
Well, I believe, regardless, and one of the things I feel like when I look at my evaluations, which I did in preparation for today, but one of the things I think the council have always given me great remarks is in my interaction with the community. I believe it's people are people, regardless of age, ethnicity, religious, whatever. People are people. Learn people, be open to people, listen to people, and talk to people.
Would you?
And I think that really helps.
This may be kind of a generic question, Mr. Owens, and I apologize for this, but would you consider yourself a people person?
Very much so. And I think everybody else do too. For some reason, I have sinuses in my, I need a tissue.
Take your time if you need to excuse yourself, that's okay.
I'm fine. I just need a tissue, but I can hear it. And I apologize. It was one of my words.
Oh, you're good.
You're okay.
Okay. Okay, I'm back with you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. Any additional follow-up to Dee's question? All right, see you.
be able to give them the resources, listen to them, check them when they're not really producing, but being that person to kind of understand the vision, being able to articulate the vision, and just try to look at gauge the successes, adjust the game plan when it's not working, so you can make some touchdowns. So I like to say that I have a coaching style method in my style of management.
Absolutely. Obviously, we're under a council manager form of government, and so, you know, the city manager handles the day-to-day operations and works directly with our employees. And our employees are extremely important to us as they pretty much make us look good all the time. They do a lot of the hard work, and I appreciate them for that. And with that being said, how would you get to know our department heads and other key staff and assess their skill levels?
So coming into a new environment, I think it's very important to learn the department head. Those are the people you're going to be working mostly directly with. I would spend time with each and every last one of them, understand their expertise. Many times they have been in the community, they understand what goes on in the community, they understand the dynamics of the community. So it would be very important to get to know them and allow them to get to know me. We work hand in hand, understand what their strength, what their weakness, and sometimes what their assessments. But it's all about communication, being able to sit down. I mean, right now, I have a group. Most of us, I go to lunch with my managers at least once a quarter. Sometimes I try to do more. When they have activities or they doing things, just be involved. So I think just getting to know them. I want to use one particular example that really worked out. 1 month today, I believe, we had a snowstorm here in Fayetteville, and just like Alabama, we're not used to snow, but we received about 8 inches of snow. So we know our public works crew was going to be out from about 2 o'clock in the morning, salt the streets and prepare. So what I did, I called our public works director. I said, of course, you know, I'm not that person to be out salt the street, but I need to be there with our team. So I came in, had breakfast for them, stayed, and provided them with all the things they needed, as well as just listen to them. And you mean that group really appreciated it when everything was said. They said, "We have no saying thank you." And I'm like, "No, you're the heroes. You're out there in 10-degree weather doing the roads." So just being there, being able to hear them and allow people to see you, I think that goes a long way.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any follow-up? Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Owens, why do you desire to be the city manager of the City of Anniston?
Well, there's many reasons. First of all, even though I am in Tennessee, I have always desired to be in Alabama. That's my state. That's where I have had most of my practices. So I do want to return back to Alabama. But also Anniston. Anniston is a community that is familiar. I did mention that I went to school near, but I also been in and out of Anniston all of my life. I know it well. Don't profess to know everything about Anniston, but I have known family and friends who have come from Anniston. I've been in Anniston more times than I can count. The opportunity came available, a golden opportunity to see this aside of the city I would like to manage. A lot of things are going on in Anniston. I'm very proud of it, looking at some new ideas about how to do things. So it's just an ideal place to be at this time.
Can I ask one more question? What do you see as the key issues facing our city?
Well, so of course, in my lifetime, we had Fort McClellan, which was a big draw for Anniston for many years. But I guess trying to recreate
biggest issue facing Fayetteville right now? And to follow up on that, what strategies have you been developed to address that issue? What plans? And then what steps have been taken to address the issue that you're going to share with us?
Okay, I can say, and I'm near my 3-year anniversary here in Fayetteville. Of course, like every other city, the challenge of money is a big part of it. But also, we have had some infrastructure. Fayetteville is a city that 50 years ago, it's a small community, but 50 years ago, it was for this region, it was one of the bigger cities. We do have several industries in this city, so we're almost 3 times as large in the day hours and working hours that we are in our residential. But we had some opportunities for development that we needed. Housing was huge. We had not done any really housing plan in at least 15, 20 years, and we had people coming into this particular city, and we had not met the housing need. So we needed to do that. We needed to diversify ourselves with some of our economic development opportunities. We had some businesses, some very good restaurants that had been here for years. But of course, the population changes, and people have many more amenities they expect. So we had to get some new coffee shops. We had to get a little entertainment district. We had to get some more retail. So we had some things we had to do to keep up with the times. So that's been one of the biggest challenges, as well as when I mentioned earlier that we had some grants that had been applied for, but had not been realized. We had not done things with them. The first grant that I worked with, we have had it 15 years. We were about to get all of those funds taken away, so I had to get in within the first 90 days and make some things happen with that grant. So we just really had to be able to move ahead and start looking ahead and take advantage of some of the investments in technology and economic development that was afforded to us.
What partnerships were created or maybe strengthened in addressing your housing issue?
Well, some of the things we did go to, we went to the state. That was a big resource with us to see where we could get the seed money to do some things. And we had to put up some petitions to get bids for affordable housing. So we had to do redevelopment plans for communities that had not seen any sales for years. We did something similar to the land bank in Birmingham, where we had housing that had sat there vacant for maybe a couple of decades. We offered incentives for people to come and renovate, but in addition to all of that, we had to hold the people accountable who was coming in and taking or buying properties. So that's a big thing that is very new to us, and we're really, in our first year, just making sure that if we have owner A, making sure that that owner knows that they gotta be accountable, and we're going back in and checking them to making sure they do what they purchased the property to do. So we're pretty big on accountability these days.
Okay. Any follow-up?
I would disclose how you may have worked with state agencies or legislators in Tennessee, or maybe federal agencies or legislators to cure some of those issues.
Well, one thing we have had, and I've been very fortunate, is to have good state representatives. I have one particular in Tennessee that has been like a super friend to us. We have invited him down, and we always keep him informed when we're trying to apply for grants. It's nothing that I have not applied for in the state or the federal government that we do not keep him involved. So I do believe in that contact within, I guess, 100 days of being in Tennessee. I met all of our federal and state representatives that represent Fayetteville and Lincoln County, established a relationship with them, and going back to that communication piece, whenever I'm trying to apply for something, I always
details, you may not wish to. If you could give us a specific example of a time when you have collaborated with, or worked with, or relied on your federal representatives.
Well, I can tell you recently, when I said recently, it was late fall. We talked to our federal representatives. We were trying to put some additional money to the recent TDOT, Tennessee Department of Transportation Fund. So we talked to them. They came and visited us. Between myself and the current mayor, the county mayor, we ended up walking and just spending a lot of time with our federal representatives, make sure they understood to value what we were trying to do. We have not received word of that particular funding, but we are within every 2 weeks updating on what she knows versus what we're trying to do here. So I think that has gone quite well, and just really understanding the importance of having that relationship working and consistent.
And you find that when you reach out to your local legislative delegation that they're responsive to you?
I really do. I mean, I had the same successes in Alabama, but I have not had a problem with any of my representatives.
Short question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you think it is to have a strong relationship with your federal government, federal representative? How important do you feel that would be? Short question.
I'm going to say 10, but also understand this, Councilwoman. I believe relationships in all what you do. I believe you establish those relationships. You always can benefit by understanding what's going on. So I'm going to say 10 on that.
Well, one question, this is have you had any successes with working with the local school systems, or any successes or challenges in your time as city manager?
So the school system in Fayetteville is going through a lot of changes. And I'm going to say, yes, going back to the federal government, we are working on we have some funding that was received right at the time I was here. The funding is a little complicated, but it is coming from the federal government. The school system here in Fayetteville, we're working to build a gymnasium that will also be a shelter for tornadoes for the community, and it will be the only one in this community. We have had to go through some federal regulations, and in the state of Tennessee, even though the school system has a separate board, but everything has to come through the city of Fayetteville. So it is very important that myself and the superintendent, we meet every 10 to 14 days. I mean, that's just a consistent thing that we do. We talk about what needs to happen. He is constantly reporting in our meetings as well as I have to go to his meeting. I mentioned that I had city council meeting on Monday. One of the biggest things we have is the school system there as we present our audit. So it's a relationship that the two entities are joined at the hip. We count on each other and everything we move in.
I have one.
Oh, yeah.
I have one quick question. It may seem insignificant to some people, but it's very important to me. I saw that when you were assistant to the mayor of the city of Birmingham, that you didn't handle animal control and you came up with a plan. We have a serious issue here with stray animals, and it's not that we don't try. We have very good animal control officers, but we're limited in where we can take these stray animals. And I just wondered if you would have, what would be your first step in alleviating this serious problem that we have?
First step I would do, and may I say before I answer, not only did I do it in the city of policies and practices were in place, how they were working, whether they were obsolete. We had to do a strong education program, not only for the community, but also for elected officials, as well as the staff. So that was huge. And I have the opportunity right now, which the city and the county overtook animal control back in January of 24. I have the opportunity to move animal control there. So every month I have a meeting between the chief of police, the sheriff's department, our attorneys, and the city mayor and the county mayor on how we're moving animal control. So that is one area that I have had a lot of experience, a lot of education. So it's something that, not by choice, but just time has allowed me to get in there and know what to do or how to move things.
Any additional questions are in at this point? Ms. Owens, do you have any questions of any of us that we have to try to answer?
No, I'm fine so far.
Okay. If there's no other questions, would you like to give some sort of a closing statement?
No, I would just like to say thank you for this opportunity. I don't know what is the characteristic you all are looking for the next city manager, but as you know, with any family, everybody has certain soft characteristics, but anything you all would like in your next manager?
Someone to make us look good. Really.
Mr. Owens, I'm too old to try to look good. So all I'm saying is, it doesn't matter to me, but it may matter to some of the young people.
You know, I see a lot of progress happening in the city, and I think the possibilities are absolutely endless. And so I just, you know, in city leadership, city management, I want someone that is driven, someone that's a go-getter, somebody that's able to identify key issues, and let's hit the ground running by addressing them. So, all in all, that's what I'm looking for sure.
Okay.
I would echo Councilmember Smith's sentiment, Mr. Owens. We want someone that is going to have a strong leadership style, that can see our vision, that we can give guidance to, and that can see the Anniston vision that we see, and someone that's confident that they can wade through the weeds and get us to where we need to go, and someone that is confident in their skill set.
And I want to add to that too. A key piece to this that I think our current city manager does well is he is really a part of our community. People know him, he's engaged. I think that is important, not just for the city manager, the city council too, but we want somebody that is engaged with the community, you know, going to school events, going to city events, just being an active participant in the things that we do. I think that plays into a part of the positive culture that we're trying to create here. So, you know, you may not be a native Annistonian, but, you know, whoever this next city manager is, we want them to feel like they've been in Anniston their whole life.
I also noticed that you were a representative for the MPO, and one thing that I sense that you're a collaborator, you believe in partnerships, and so I think having a partnership on the state level and the federal level will constant contact would be very critical for this role that we're looking for. So,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Owen, if there's nothing further, we certainly do appreciate the time. We enjoyed spending time with you, and you can probably expect to hear from us at least initially in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I appreciate everybody. Tomorrow's supposed to be a beautiful day, so I hope everybody get out and enjoy some of the day. But thank you, and thank you for bearing through my sinuses and all. I enjoyed getting to know you.
Hey, listen, it's going around here too, so we get take care of yourself.
Thank you.